Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why New York, out of all nicknames, ended up being called the Big Apple? I mean, when you think of New York, you picture skyscrapers, Times Square, yellow cabs, Wall Street, Broadway lights, but definitely not apples. Nobody lands in JFK thinking, wow, can't wait to see the apples. So why this nickname? The answer is actually a wild mix of horse racing, jazz culture, marketing, and a reporter with a good ear. The story really begins in the early 1920s. Back then, horse racing was a huge deal, like the NFL of its time. And there was this sports writer named John J. Fitzgerald who wrote for the New York Morning Telegraph. While traveling in New Orleans, he overheard some stable hands talking about the richest, most prestigious racetracks in the country. They weren't talking about money. They were talking about opportunity. And they said something like, "We're heading to the Big Apple." To them, New York's racetracks were the ultimate prize. If you could win there, you were at the top. Fitzgerald loved that phrase. He took it, brought it back to New York, and started using it in his articles. Just like that, readers started seeing New York referred to as the Big Apple, and the nickname slowly caught on, but the nickname didn't explode overnight. It simmered for a decade or two, kind of like an inside joke among sports fans. Then the jazz musicians came along in the 1930s and 40s and injected a whole new energy into it. In jazz slang, musicians used the word apple to describe any big city with a major music scene. And if Los Angeles was an apple and Chicago was an apple, New York was the biggest, brightest, boldest apple of them all. So jazz players started calling New York the Big Apple when they talked about where the best gigs were and where the biggest crowds could be found. And when musicians talk, the culture listens. The nickname moved from smoky jazz clubs to radio shows, newspapers, and everyday conversation. But like a lot of trends, it faded over time. By the 1950s, the nickname wasn't as popular anymore. New York was still New York, but the Big Apple just wasn't being said that much. Then came the 1970s, and the city was struggling. High crime rates, financial problems, the kind of time where people were leaving, not coming in. That's when New York's tourism board stepped in and thought, we need something bold, something iconic, something that makes people curious again, and they found the perfect forgotten phrase. They brought the Big Apple back in a huge way. Tour campaigns, posters, slogans, souvenirs. They plastered it everywhere, and it worked. Visitors loved it. It sounded big, fun, mysterious, and a little glamorous. The nickname became official, permanent, and worldwide. And that's how this giant, chaotic, incredible city ended up with the nickname the Big Apple. It started from horse racing slang in the South, got pushed into pop culture by jazz musicians, disappeared for a while, then got revived to help the city rebuild its image. It's a nickname with layers, not something invented in a boardroom, but something earned through history, energy, and culture. In a way, it fits New York perfectly. It's bold, unexpected, a little strange, but unforgettable, just like the city itself.